Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nightmare Collective. I'm Chris and welcome to my new series. On this series, we're going to be exploring all of the A24 horror movies. This will be a long and brutal path that I hope you will join me on. With that being said, let's begin my A24 horror journey with Robert Eggers' 2015 film, The Witch. The year is 1630. We follow a farmer who has recently exiled himself due to a panic and despair that has taken over him. And so we leave the comfortability, as comfortable as you can be for the 1630s, and we head out to a secluded farm where they can be alone with their thoughts. What happens after this is where our story really digs in and takes place. In the very beginning, the smallest and youngest child, Samuel, is taken by a witch in the woods. You know, spoilers, there's a witch in this movie. He is taken, he is killed, and then made into a squishy baby paste that the witch rubs all over her. It's very disturbing, and it sets this movie in motion very early on, so you are ready for some weird and fucked up shit to happen. That's kind of the synopsis of the film, and the next part we'll get into the characters themselves and kind of break them down and go over each of them and what I like and what I don't like. And so, let's get into the characters. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into these characters, if you will. So let's start with the matriarchy, and we're going to talk about the father, William, who is basically the reason why they are having to traverse out to this random farm in the middle of nowhere, because he's basically gone a little cuckoo Cocoa Puffs and can't keep his shit together. So he's like, you know what we're going to do? Screw the church, we're going to go live in the middle of nowhere where hopefully there are no witches, and we're going to try and grow corn, which is probably not going to work out well for us. And then we've got the mother, who is Catherine, and then we've got the siblings. So we've got Samuel, who is the youngest child, then we've got the twins, Mercy and Jonas, and then we've got Caleb, and then we have Thomasin. Okay, so let's kind of break them down. So the dad, like I said, brought them out here. The mother, Catherine, is kind of distraught by this. She doesn't really believe in him. She's worried that when they get out there, they are not going to be able to succeed in growing the farm. And she is very nervous and unsettled by him just flagrantly like throwing them out and being like disregarding all of the things that they believe just because he wanted to. So they go out, they set up this farm, and then very shortly after that, in the beginning of the movie, Samuel is taken by the witch like we went over in the first part. And then what happens after that is just weird occurrences start to happen, and Thomasin is at the forefront of this. She feels like she doesn't belong here. The two worst characters in this movie are by far the twins. Mercy and Jonas, I mean, they are meant to be this way. They are meant to be foils of Black Phillip, who is the devil, basically. And they are just constantly grinding on Thomasin and being like, you are not loved by your parents, and you are a witch. And there's a great scene where they're by like a creek area where Anya just basically goes off on them and is like, you know what? I am a fucking witch, and I'm going to murder you in your sleep if you don't shut up. These kids are so grating, man. If I had my option, we would just curb stomp those two kids. That's all I've got to say about the characters. Okay, so now let's get into the witch. Okay, so let's get into the depiction of the witch. So in the very beginning, when Samuel is taken, you get the look at the witch, and she's very grotesque and large, and, you know, very disgusting looking. Then later on, as we shift to when Caleb encounters the witch, she's very beautiful and voluptuous and, you know, very attractive to Caleb. And so he's very drawn into her, which was not the case with Samuel the baby, which it didn't really matter because he was a baby. So then we get Black Phillip, who is depicted as the devil figure, and I like that they kind of show but don't show and keep him very vague and kind of out of focus. I really like that, and like the buckles and the hooves, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. And then at the very end we get the group of witches that you see, and they're all floating and flying, and I thought that was really cool. And that's when you see Thomasin do the same thing, and I really like the stages that we get. You know, you get very grotesque, very beautiful, and then you get the full on we're all gonna be butt naked and flying witches. So overall, I really like all the depictions of the witches here. It's all super cool, and it's probably my favorite part about this movie. So now let's get into the final part where I'll give my overall thoughts on the film, and then I'll go over how I'm going to be ranking them across all of these videos throughout the entire year. All right, let's get into it. My overall thoughts and ranking. Okay, so let's get into my final thoughts and ranking for this film. So I just want to say up front, I watched this on Blu-ray initially, and then for my second viewing, I watched the second sight 4K version of this movie, and I will have to say this is the far superior version, just like the director's cut for Midsommar. I'm not saying that movie is better. I've never seen it. I don't know, but that package, and I know that edition of the actual film is superior to the Blu-ray. So I had a great time watching this. It definitely does enhance it. The blacks are darker here, and you know, the highlights of the fire and all of that stuff going on with the reds and stuff is definitely more pronounced in this version. So as a physical media fan, I highly recommend this one. It is probably triple the price in comparison. I picked up the Blu-ray for $5. This was almost $40, so you know that going in. But if you really like The Witch, like I do, I think this is the version to own. All right, so overall, I really enjoyed this film. I think we started out with a great film, and one that I kind of went into knowing kind of what it was, and it's more of my style of film, so I thought I would enjoy it, and I did. So I also, before we get into the ranking, I want to announce the next film and kind of how this process will work going forward. So we're going to be doing The Lighthouse, which is Robert Eggers' second film for A24, and I thought it best to kind of, if a director directed multiple films for A24, I want to kind of sandwich them together so I can compare and contrast the two films. So Robert Eggers is The Witch, and then he did The Lighthouse, so I'm going to watch The Lighthouse. And how this is going to work is you guys picked the first one, which was The Witch, and I'm going to pick The Lighthouse, which was the next one, and we'll kind of go back and forth every time. And so that way you're picking a movie, I'm picking a movie. So a couple days after this comes out, I will make a community post with the next 3 films that you guys have to choose from, and you guys can choose the next one. But the next film will be The Lighthouse, and then you guys will choose the film after that. It just gives me time to kind of prep for the next movie without having to be like waiting on you guys to decide. And so I think the back and forth is good, because then it's something that I'm interested in, something you guys want me to watch. So overall, that's how that's going to work. All right, so how this ranking is going to work as well. It'll be the tail end of these videos. And so since this beginning, The Witch is obviously at the top. So going forward, though, everything will basically work as, do I like this better than the previous movie, and where does it rank? So, you know, if we got The Witch, then we got The Lighthouse. If I like that least, then the next film will kind of, you get the gist of how this works. It's kind of like a tier list, but overall we'll build a giant tier list for this A24 stuff that we've got going on. And at the very end, whenever we get there, I will do a video kind of chronicling every movie, and we'll do a giant tier list. But we kind of have it pre-made, but we'll discuss the films overall, and it'll be kind of in one big long video. So look forward to that whenever we finish this series. I look forward to kind of discussing that. And then the other thing is, this is the first type of this type of video, and so in the future, my goal would be eventually to possibly get some other horror creators involved, or if you're watching this and you create content, reach out to me if you like the next film that's coming up, because I'd like to get some other voices in here and, you know, maybe some other people contributing to these videos, so that way it's not just me, it's kind of taking what I think about the film and then maybe getting some input from some other creators and creative people. So if you know anybody that would be interested, or if you're interested, I'm also going to reach out to some people on Twitter, but, you know, maybe not these first couple, but down the line, I think it would be a really cool thing and a very collaborative thing to do, to bring some other voices to the channel. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching this series so far in this video. Let me know down below, what did you like about the video? What did you not like about the video? What do you think I can improve on? You know, I'm always open to constructive feedback, and especially in something new in this endeavor, I just kind of want to know if you guys are liking it. Is it too long? Is it too short? You know, do you not like seeing me? Because, you know, obviously this was all voiceover except for the beginning and the end. You know, like I said, it's a little bit different. I can stretch my editing skills, and I just feel like that's the way to talk about these, as opposed to me being in front of the camera for 15 minutes, which I have done, but, you know, that's all I got. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.